Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Staff Sergeant Magana. I am with the U.S. Army, and today I came here to tell you a little bit about my Army story. Okay, the reason, basically, why I do what I do, why we're in the Army, and I'll go a little bit into just a little bit of my upbringing, how everything started, and why I ended up doing what I did. Okay, who has like relatives or friends in the Army? Just one of you guys? Were?
Yeah, not in.
Okay. All right. So there's a lot of reasons why. There's a lot of reasons why people serve. Okay. Specifically for me, when I was around 12 years old, the whole World Trade Center event happened. Who was around that time? Who saw it on TV? You saw it on TV? Remember how like, huh?
I didn't see it on TV.
Yeah?
I was just born.
How old are you?
I was 3.
You were 3? All right, yeah. So you wouldn't remember that.
Yeah, I could do it around,
Okay. All right. So it was a big deal. It's a big event. And at that time, I chose that I wanted to do something about it. I'm like, man, that's not okay. That's not right.
And didn't the US do that?
What's that?
Didn't the USA do that?
No, man. I don't think so. I don't think so. That's a conspiracy theory. There's a lot of conspiracy theories with a lot of stuff, man. And that's, we're not gonna talk about those. But later on, as we went, as I got older, a lot of my friends were serving. People serve for many different reasons, not specifically just to serve in that capacity. Some people serve because they wanted to go to college. All right. So I've deployed 4 times altogether. I've gone to Iraq and I've gone to Afghanistan. So I have a little bit of insight of how it is to be in those countries. Right. Next slide. So originally, I'm not from California. I'm from North Carolina. All right, I grew up over there, so it's a little bit different. The environment of what we're brought into is like completely different, right? People are a little bit more. I want to say people are not patriotic here, but people are like very patriotic. So growing up in high school, it was kind of like a very expected thing to do. At least one guy out of each family would join some branch of the military. I joined when I was 18, and when you first join the Army, your first job is specifically to be a member of a squad. All right, I was assigned as a machine gunner in my first squad, and I did that for about 2 years. Eventually, once you prove yourself, once you get very well at your individual tasks, you move on to team leader stuff. What's up, man?
You ever got shot?
Huh?
You ever got shot?
No, man.
No.
And we'll talk a little bit about that. I'll tell you a little bit inside of some of the combat. But the main thing is, even if you're in a combat MOS, you're not really going to be exposed to all the chaos and stuff that you guys see on movies, right? When you watch a movie like Saving Private Ryan, you see like a bunch of rounds being shot and explosions and whatnot, okay? It's a lot. The reality is completely different to what you see on TV. Same thing with everything you hear, man. All the conspiracy theories and stuff like that. That may not all be true. So a standard day for me in the regular Army is basically to train. Monday through Friday. All right. Monday we get our kind of like a brief. We find out what's going on for the rest of the week. If it's like rifle ranges, grenade ranges, depending on what is going on with the training schedule, we go ahead and we execute that training. All right. I've been stationed all around the country. I've been stationed in Colorado. I've been stationed in Fort Benning. I've been in North Carolina, briefly at Fort Bragg. I have 3 kids, and all my kids were born in a different military base. All right. My oldest son, he was born in the Naval Hospital in Camp Lejeune, and then my second son, Walmack Hospital in Fort Bragg, and my daughter finally, she was born in Evans and Colorado.
They all got the
Fort
same mom.
Carson. Huh?
They all got the same mom.
Yeah, yeah, they got the same mom. But yeah, they're born different military bases. All right. Next slide.
Was she with you? Sorry, that was not my question. So
My
she
wife?
was living with you at
So-
the base? Or?
You know, that's a good question because yes, she was. I've been married for approximately like 10 years now, a little bit over, and you know that's one of the hardest things about military life is that you do go away, you deploy, right? It was pretty much well known when I joined, and you know, before we were even dating, I knew like it was gonna be, you know, a standard thing for me. I wasn't really too much focused on having a relationship right away, you know, but it developed, and you know, we dated, and I told her, I'm like, look, I'm gonna deploy, I'm gonna leave, go away for a little while. So it's rough. That's a rough patch because when you come back, they change, right? Like 9 months to a year is a long, long time, and you also change in the process. You're gonna learn how to like live on your own. So will they. But at the end of the day, you know, once we got married and once we had our first kid, it was always kind of like a new challenge to where, you know, we learned how to cope with each other again. Now, I always took her with me everywhere I went, like whatever military base that we were at, she came with me and, you know, we lived together and everything. Even to this day, like, I mean, even though we're on recruiting duty, she still comes and we have a house here and everything. So, yeah, I mean, married life and military, it has its own challenges, but it also has its own like kind of rewards and stuff like that. She's grown a lot because of it, right? Every different place where we go to, she's met new people. She's made like really good friends here and there. You know, the cool thing, I think the most beneficial thing that the Army's given me is that the ability that I'll be retired in 6 years, right? My oldest son, I have 3 kids, my oldest son's gonna be 16 years old, still in high school,
That's nice.
and you know, my goal is to be able to finish my degree while I'm in the Army, right? Because the Army pays for it, and be able to like work for CHP, well not CHP, I'm looking more along the State Troopers in North Carolina, and the other awesome thing that the Army afforded me that I have is that I have a veteran's preference in North Carolina. If you speak Spanish and you're a military veteran, they give you a little bit of preference and bump you up on their line to the academy. But other than that, the Army has a long, long history. Who knows a little bit about Army history? Anybody? Anybody?
How's the weakest branch?
Who said that?
I don't know, all 4 of them.
Who said that?
The Marines.
The Marines said that? Okay. All right, man. Yeah, people say that, man. People say a lot of things. I'll disagree with you, and here's why. The Army, we're the biggest branch, okay? The Marines, I was actually a Marine, by the way.
What?
Yeah.
All
Yeah, I didn't really go over that, but I was a Marine, okay? I deployed twice with them. Once to Ramadi, and we fought the militias there, and again to Helmand Province. All right, the whole time, the Army was kind of backing us up because the Marines cannot.
There's an abundance of the Army.
Huh?
There's an abundance of people. Like, there's a lot of Army.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff that, you know, we can talk about that later. I'll just go through the interview, and if you have questions like that, I'll answer them. There's a lot more that goes into actual war fighting than just having a lot of people. You know, it's a lot. Next slide. All right, today's Army is a lot different than even when initially I joined, right? You would have to be just very, very physically fit, right? You couldn't, you had to learn like your basic weapon system and your battle drills. Not a whole lot after that. But with the emergence of new technologies, i.e. like you see all the social media stuff, all the cyber network stuff that's going on, right? There's a whole lot of new jobs And even for infantry guys like me, you're expected to know a little bit about everything, not just your weapon system, but you're supposed to understand how to navigate different platforms, right? Different technology. And what it comes down to is we stay kind of like at the forefront of technology, right? We're constantly developing new ways, new tactics for force preservation to protect ourselves and to become constantly more lethal, okay? And that's basically what keeps us, it provides the freedom that we have here, and it provides the strength for our country to be the best country in the world, right? Next one. All right, so one of the better and one of the major things I would say that the Army has taught me is it's taught me a little bit about values, okay? Values is really what makes a soldier. And not only does the Army develop you as, physically and mentally, but it also develops you as a leader, okay? Anywhere that you will go, you will need to have some sort of leadership qualities, right? You're gonna need to be able to get people moving, get people going, in different aspects, right? So all these leadership traits really revolve around the leader: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. That is something that even to this day I try to teach that to my sons, so that they understand, like, hey, you need to have these values. These values are going to carry you far, and you're going to be very, very successful if you just embody those.
That's
Right?
on all the dog tags?
Huh?
That's on all of them?
Nah, man. It's not a dog tag.
You get it's like an additional Army values tag, but yeah.
Pretty neat.
Yeah. Next one. Okay. Who's ever a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout? Anybody? Okay. You were? Yeah? All right. Did you guys have like a little motto or something?
I don't remember it.
Do you remember it? What was it?
I don't remember it.
Oh man.
Remember it.
It's all right, man. It's all right if you don't. So the biggest thing about Soldier's Creed is that every soldier that comes through our ranks, we teach them something. Back when I was in my basic training, right? I remember this. I'll never forget. My drill sergeant. He would, when we were like racked out, ready to go to bed, he'll just be in there like just whispering at us, like, "Hey, y'all about to go and like do some crazy stuff, man. Y'all about to go and like take down a tower, man. Y'all about to do this." And I'm like, oh, man, what the heck? Like, I'm like, what did I get myself into, right? There's a certain amount of fear. There's a certain amount of like kind of like nervousness when you know you're gonna go into a dangerous situation, right? But as soldiers, as men, we conquer those things. We have to conquer our fears, right? And I teach that also to my sons. I'm like, you have to not be afraid. Who remembers riding a bike? First time, anybody? All right, it's a little scary because you fall off and whatnot. My son, for a minute, he was like, "No, Dad, I'm scared. I don't want to do that because I'm gonna fall." All right. Everything you do in life goes back to the very basics of being scared to fall. Right. You can't be afraid of that because it's kind of like the saying, "Who dares wins." All right. You have to constantly be willing to take a little bit of danger. Acknowledge that it's there and push forward. To the objective. In Soldier's Creed, it gives somebody that kind of like that belonging, that owning of what needs to be done. All right. And if you take anything out of it, I just want you to get: I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit, and I will never leave a fallen comrade. All right. Those are the the warrior ethos. That's what embodies each soldier, and that's what will give you that kind of inner strength. Next one. All right. At this time, I'll answer a few questions, guys, and you know, just keep it a little PG. There are some questions that are a little, you know, off the charts, but if you have any questions about how the Army works, you know, what we really do, and I'll go a little bit into the combat there. What's up?
Hey, is it true you gotta be you can't be flat-footed to enter the army?
That's not true.
It's not true.
That's not true. Okay, I've been told that. What was it? Yesterday? No, the
Yeah,
other day.
job fair yesterday.
We were at a job fair, and you know, ladies was like, "I'm flat-footed, I can't do it." And I'm like, "Oh man." Everybody thinks
I don't know
that.
where that came from, but
Yeah.
I always heard it.
Well, it's like a lot of people assume that they're flat-footed because somebody told them they were, and you're not really that severe of flat-footed. That we
Does that play a factor in anything?
no. So what happens when you go to basic training? They have a machine that like measures your foot and determines like what the best running shoe is for you, and they help you pick out a good pair.
Oh.
Because it's basically you put a lot of miles on the ground when you're running, and the Army is going to take responsibility of all your previous issues and all your future issues. So if it's any like medical thing that could, you know, possibly get you hurt or limit your ability to do your job and get somebody else hurt, they're not going to accept that responsibility. That's what it comes down to.
I think I'm flat-footed. I don't know, but I'm fine. I just ran like 5 miles this morning, and I feel good. So, you know, you were saying that the Marines are stronger and stuff like that. So here's how it works, man. When we go to combat, when we deploy, a lot of things go into consideration, right? All the supplies. You're gonna make sure that you basically overwhelm whatever objective is there, right? So if the enemy, and usually we're very accurate with our intelligence as infantry companies, infantry platoons. So we'll get like notified, like, hey, there's possibly 7 guys with medium machine guns, AKs, etc., etc., etc. So in that situation, we bring 3 times more firepower, 3 times more manpower. On top of that, we bring also air weapons teams, and we have artillery assets. We'll have a lot of things in place in order to, you know, accomplish our mission and safeguard our troops. We would never send a soldier where we would not send a bullet first, and that's why, you know, through all of my deployments, through all of the combat that I've been in, which some of it has been pretty harsh. All right, I've lost like 2 of my friends in an ambush one time. So you have that is a reality of our lives, all right? But just because that happened, I don't dwell on that, and I don't like carry that like, oh man, I lost my friends. No, I still look forward. I'm excited for what's coming next. You know, I memorize those guys, and I always like, you know, remember them. But we all knew what we were getting ourselves into. We all knew exactly what was going to happen, and I just tell my sons, I try to teach them that you always have to like be able to build that courage, to not be afraid, to stand up to the wrongdoer, right? Stand up to the tyrant, the bad guy, and be able to have a good life. That's what we all really want at the end of this, right? I'm sure none of you guys want to just like not have the best life you could possibly have. Like I said, I just wanted to give you guys a little insight of my Army story, okay? And I hope that this really, you know, you get something out of it, right? Even if it's just some hope to better yourself in some way, or if you have a friend and you know that the Army is probably something that's going to save them from a lot of heartache, okay? Because the reality is, if I wouldn't have joined the Army, I was hanging around like bad crowds, man, when I was your guys' age. I was not really doing, making really good decisions, okay? And some of those decisions could have put me in a different situation. And I'm grateful that I took the opportunity to, even if it was dangerous, right? Even if combat was a dangerous place, it turned out to be a better choice for me and my family, okay? Any questions, anything else? Yes, ma'am.
What led you into going to the service?
I'm sorry?
What in your life led you to go to the service?
I think it was overall, it was just that that search for belonging, and the search to to kind of really understand myself, right? Because when I was like 16, 17, I didn't really know, like, I'm like, man, I really want to do this, I want to do that. I was all over the place, you know. I knew I couldn't afford to go to college. My parents weren't going to pay for it, you know. And really, I always, I think it was always like, since I was a little kid, it was just ingrained in my mind. I'm like, one day, you know, I'm going to be a soldier. One day I'm going to get after it out there. And at the time, some of that was a little kind of blurry, because when you're that young, you don't really understand how combat is, how the things you're going to end up doing, you know. Some of that really opened my eyes to the world a lot more than I really expected, right? It was kind of like a shock. But like I said, I always remembered that I have to overcome those situations. And at the end of the day, I think I'm better for it. Anything else? No? All right, guys. Well, that concludes my brief.
Thank
I will
you.
leave my cards here. We brought a few goodies. We don't have a whole lot. I'll leave my cards here. And if you guys have any questions or anything, just feel free to like shoot a text or something. Huh?
Yeah,
Thank you.
we got water bottles and keychains. Y'all feel free to
Oh, I want one.
take one. It's hot out there.